What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes here, back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the SH Figuarts One Piece Roronoa Zoro, the raid on Onigashima. This is basically Zoro from the Wano arc, and there has been a lot to discuss when it comes to this figure. I've heard quite a few bad things, but I'm looking forward into diving into it so we can see if it's all true or it's just a game of he say, she say. We will find out, but let's go ahead and get started, diving right into the sexy packaging first. Now, when it comes to the sexy packaging, I don't really care for it that much. It has this whitish, kind of brownish tan color for the theme other than the green, which is basically Zoro's color. You have this map-esque look up here, which that's probably the best part about this flat white. I don't really care for it that much. I said flat, but again, it's a tad bit tan, but it could be because my eyes are just playing tricks on me. Anyway, we got Zoro right here, the window where you can see the figure. It says Roronoa Zoro right there. Some images along the side as well as the window where you can see the figure, some of the accessories. Tamashii Nation's Bandai at the bottom. More images along the side right here. I really love these dual accessories that you have for Zoro and Luffy. That's cool that they're doing that. At the bottom, you got Zoro right there looking serious. And then, of course, on the back, you got some poses you can get the figure into, some of the accessories, and then a bunch of stuff I can't read because I imported this. Now, anyway, let's go ahead and bust this figure open and see if it's what people say it is. So straight out of the packaging, the first thing I want to do with this figure is outline everything that I like about it so far. Granted, we know there's problems here and there, but I'll get to those when the time comes. This thing looks outstanding, man. It is Zoro from the Wano arc, captured perfectly in action figure form, from the proportions and just the overall look of the figure itself. Some parts of the design are very simplistic, while others have just the right amount of detail, as they should. The head sculpt is phenomenal. You got that serious Zoro looking face, a guy you know you don't want to mess with. I really love all the sculpted wrinkles and detail in terms of the kimono that he's wearing, and then the soft plastic at the bottom. The boots work fine enough, very plain design, but I do think that's accurate to Ichiro Oda's work. And then, of course, you have the scar across the chest, the scar across the eye. You got some sculpted details in the face that kind of bring out his expression a tad bit more. The big hands and muscle definition where it does show. I really love that they also put some shading in the sash, and I gotta say, man, this is a very well sculpted figure. That's pushing aside all the issues we'll get to later. Just straight up, man, if I was to get this guy and stand him on my shelf like this, or maybe more neutral-esque poses, I'd really enjoy it. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this guy so we can examine some of those details a bit further. So taking an up close look at this guy, if you look into the eyes, you can see, or eye rather, he's kind of got that one pupil that has the white lining around it, meaning that this is a serious Zoro. This is him when he's getting ready to go into an attack mode and somebody's about to get beat up or killed. I do love the 3 earrings. They sculpted those on well enough. I also love what they did with the hair. It looks fine. I think it could have benefited from some shading, but it works well enough. And as you guys can see, that head moves around very, very well. I love what they did with the upper body. The torso and everything just seems to work well. I do not like the fact that this is a separate piece instead of sculpted on, because if you look inside these shoulder joints, you can actually see the skin tone. I do not like when they do that, and if they're going to do that, I wish they would at least paint it up enough so that's not noticeable, because man, I don't like that at all. I hated that issue with the Beast Gohan figure. I can't stand it with the Orange Piccolo, and I don't know, man, I just don't think that's a good design aesthetically. Overall, everything works, but just being able to see the skin tone inside of the sleeves is not cool. Now, in terms of the rest of the body, all of this is a very soft plastic, but it's not as soft as I wish it was, because this skirt piece is definitely going to hinder articulation. There's really no way around that. Now this right here is on a swivel, kind of like Luffy's. It does just pop off and then you can put it back on there. When it comes to the legs, I feel like this is a decent design. Feels like it's single jointed. I can't tell for sure, but wow, they were not lying about this figure falling apart. That really just happened on camera. Holy crap. I'm gonna keep this on here for you guys to see. Wow, I was not expecting that at all. But yeah, we just saw it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the height. Now when it comes to the height on this guy, to the top of his head, as you guys can see, he's approaching about 6.5 inches, which is fine. He's definitely a bit taller than the standard SH Figuarts. And of course, I'll be doing some size comparisons later so you can see how he stacks up against other figures. So after that catastrophe earlier, I'm a little bit nervous moving into the articulation, but whatever happens is going to happen, and I'm going to keep it in the video for you guys to see. Now in terms of movement, the head works fine. That's how the head pops off. Interesting design choice, but it doesn't seem like it'd be much of a problem. It is on a double ball peg, so there you go. He looks down all the way. Again, just watch that faceplate, it will come off. Movement at the head is perfect. You couldn't ask for more than that. That's really good, and that neck just helps even more. But it seems like this faceplate falls off very easy. It does have the Naruto and Sasuke, or Kid Naruto and Sasuke type issue, where when you tilt the head, it just starts to come off. So that's a bit of a pain. Wish they could have found another way around that, but as you can see, it doesn't break up the hair sculpt. So I think that's kind of what they were going for with this one. In terms of the arm movement, yes, they do pop off. That is true, and they don't really go out. Wow, that's crazy. What? Wow, and it's not going back in there either. There, well, no, it's not. Okay, this is, oh man, this is a little disappointing. I can't get the arm back on. That is crazy, man. Wow. And I'm keeping all this on camera for you guys to see. This is not me exaggerating. Like, y'all see me pushing it in there. It is, this arm is not going on. Maybe if I do it this way. Okay, yeah, so you have to kind of line it up a little bit, but then the moment you start to turn it, the arm pops off. So it's almost like he really doesn't have much swivel here. Kind of comes from right here, but at the shoulders you're not gonna get much range at all. When you try to move it out, there it is. So you have to kind of tuck it, and still that's not the best. That's kind of whack. Anyway, he does have a decent elbow. The hands are on the same hinge as Luffy. I don't know why they didn't do a ball peg, but whatever. I mean, they work, so I'm not going to complain about that. They move around just fine. Now, they showed this in their live. Let's see if I can fix the arm first. There we go. When it comes to the torso, that was kind of my fault. That was my fault. This guy is really falling apart, though. But he does crunch forward. Not much, man. This figure really is a doozy, and it sucks because I'm wanting to like it, but I'm giving you guys the raw truth. Like, he doesn't really lean back much at all. And I feel like Tamashii Nations was really trying their hardest not to get this to pop off when they recorded the crunch. But yeah, he leans back very, very good. Leans forward very well, but if you push it too much, you guys saw what happens. The head and the faces just kind of fall off. Like, literally everything fell off when I crunched this guy forward. So yeah, when it comes to the legs, all right, let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for these to fall off. You can do the splits only about that much because of that soft plastic. Actually, I'm gonna take this figure apart so you guys can see. So when he comes apart, this piece, if I can talk, I'm a little disappointed. This piece right here is actually two separate pieces of thick plastic, which is a horrible decision. So you've got this piece right here, then you've got this piece right here. So just imagine both of these pieces of plastic hindering the articulation already, but then being on top of one another, that's going to cause a whole lot of hindrance. Now, without that, he kicks forward about that much, but when you move it, this crotch piece right here is going to come off. And no, that's not broken. I've heard plenty of people that have that issue. They go out just fine. And this is going to be the weirdest articulation segment I've ever done. He does have a thigh swivel that works fine. The knee is pretty much single jointed. You get pretty much double jointed range though. So, I mean, that's fine. It is an ugly design, but for the most part, I think it's going to be hidden anyway. But still, it's ugly. He does have a swivel right here at the boot. Foot goes down about that much, up about that much. Very good ankle rocker, and then he does have toe hinge. So articulation on this guy is there. They just should have done something better about this skirt piece, because this is awful, man. You're going to run into a lot of this figure falling apart. There's just no way around it, and that sucks. Now, when it comes to the accessories for this figure, you don't really get anything out of the ordinary. You don't get more than you should get, but I do think that you get enough. First off, he comes with a neutral head sculpt and a pair of fist hands right out of the packaging. You get his signature smirking face. So glad they threw that in there. You get this kind of confused expression, which is also one that you get with Luffy, so I'm happy about that. It's basically an expression that they both share. You can tell this is during some kind of One Piece comedy moment. You get this angry yelling face for when he's attacking. He could be doing onigiri or whatever his technique is called, or the many techniques that he has. Then you get one head sculpt where he has the bandana on. This is one where he actually has the sword in the mouth. It's not meant for just a bandana expression, which sucks. I really wish we could get at least a neutral bandana expression. Maybe that'll come as a Build-A-Figure piece with another figure, but yeah, that's to be announced. He does come with an alternate sleeve piece. This is for when he has the bandana off. He comes with a pair of sword gripping hands, a pair of relaxed hands, and then when it comes to his swords, he comes with all three of them individually. Here is this one, here is this one, here is this one, and I don't remember the names of his swords. I'm not that big of a One Piece fan that I'm crazy, but I don't remember them. But anyway, he does come with his swords that also attach to the belt, and for whenever he's using one or two of them, you are able to just pop the pieces right out. And so, yeah, accessory wise, I think he comes with enough. Would be cool to get like some slicing effects or something like that, but this figure is already $60, so that's not something I expected them to throw in. Now, I don't know if it was done this way intentionally. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I found that when it comes to attaching the swords to the belt piece, it is better to just take this figure apart. It comes apart easily enough, so you don't have to worry about that. But it is a pain in the ass to attach these. So if I was you, if you attach these, leave them on. Don't take them off. Also, be very, very careful. You do have pieces that tab into the other, so you have an idea of how to align it. But again, it is a pain to do. Moving on to size comparisons, here he is standing next to the one figure that matters, the SH Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy. And then, of course, we have some other shonen protagonists. We have him standing next to the SH Figuarts Naruto Uzumaki from the revived Naruto line, and the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball CGI Goku. Next up, here he is standing next to some SH Figuarts side characters. We have him standing next to the SH Figuarts 2.0 Super Vegeta, the SH Figuarts Jujutsu Kaisen Greatness Megami Fushiguro, and of course the SH Figuarts revived Naruto line Sasuke Uchiha Shippuden version. Moving on to some Figmas, here he is standing next to the Figma Jujutsu Kaisen Greatness Honored One Satoru Gojo, the SH Figuarts My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia Deku, and the Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer Tanjiro. Last but not least, here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, a Mafex or Metacom Toy Batman Hush Nightwing, and a Jakks Pacific Supersonic. Now, when it comes to my final thoughts on this figure, I'm going to go ahead and be completely transparent with you guys. This thing has problems galore. And if you watch the entirety of this review, then I'm sure you guys already saw. This is a figure that it's probably going to make my top disappointing figures of 2023, because this guy is plagued with issues that could have been solved easily. Now, I'm going to cover all of them in detail, starting with the faceplates. I don't like how the faceplates attach on, because when you move the neck, the faceplates are just going to pop off, as I showed you guys earlier. Granted, it's aesthetically pleasing with the hair, and it kind of hides any kind of separation that would have been put in there, so I can see what they were doing with it, but faceplates popping off is something I don't like at all. That being said, I don't like joints popping off. That is probably my biggest issue with this figure, because all of the pieces that fall off could have been avoidable, at the waist especially. If they were going to go with this hard plastic that I'll get into in just a sec, what they should have done at least was make the double ball peg a lot longer and a bit more sturdier. Not only would that have made this figure stop falling apart, it would have also helped the articulation. Therefore, when you're posing him around at the waist, it doesn't just pop off in random areas. Now, when it comes to the shoulders, like I said earlier, I don't really have an issue with the front part of the shirt being a separate piece, but I do wish, if they're going to continue doing that, they would start painting the skin tone that should not be noticeable. That's just something that I don't like. That's a personal thing. It's not even something that you'll notice from the front of the figure, but if you're looking at it from the side, then it's very noticeable. Next up, the swords. These are way too difficult to attach on. They could have had them wrapped up in a sash piece that just pegs onto the side, and then they could have gave you a separate piece that pegs onto the side for when he doesn't have his swords holstered. That would have made this so much easier, and it would have utilized almost the same amount of plastic, maybe a little bit more, but not that much. It would have made it easier on them engineering wise as well, I would think, and it would have just made the overall attachment better, because these are pieces that you're not going to want to take off too many times, man. They're too thin, there's too many peg-on pieces, and at some point, if you continue to do it, it's going to break. So the sword attachment is a horrible design. Moving on further down, the sash piece. That is probably the worst part of this figure, and the reason I say that is because you get almost no articulation out of the legs. It's pretty much useless, because not only do you have hard plastic that's hindering the articulation, you have two whole pieces of it that aren't even separated a bit, and so moving the legs around, you're not going to get much more than the movement that you can see to be possible here looking at the figure from the front. It's just a horrible design, and considering the fact that we've seen Tamashii Nations fix this, it just makes it all the more disappointing, because the articulation is there. And so this guy is just plagued with mistakes that we've seen fixed with other figures. So it's like, you guys are killing it with the Naruto line, you guys are killing it with the Dragon Ball line. The Bleach line isn't bad in my opinion. Why are we messing up on One Piece, what is arguably the most popular anime right now next to Jujutsu Kaisen? But why? Roronoa Zoro, SH Figuarts. You would think, just hearing that, it's a figure that you have to add to your collection. But overall, man, this guy is disappointing, man. I hate to say it, but everything people have said about this figure is right, and I wanted them to be wrong. I am the most optimistic person when it comes to figures, especially when it comes to figures of characters that I enjoy. But at this point, I've been going on for almost 5 minutes ranting about this figure, and you guys might have already stopped listening. I don't know, man. This is just one that, if you're just going to stand it on your shelf, by all means. But if you want to pose this guy around and enjoy it, it is not worth adding to your collection unless you're ready to deal with a ton of problems. This is more disappointing than the Figmanotomy, and that says a lot. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video off here. I've talked too much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, peace, guys.